All right, and this is Doc Williams, and we are at the Baltimore Anthem Pro Day, and we're with who today?
Jared Enderton of the Baltimore Anthem.
Okay, man, so we've got a lot of things that we saw today. How did it go, seeing new talent, being with the team again? How was your perspective on it?
Yeah, it was fun. I think, just doing some racing again was awesome, with the different pro day athletes that were here who were trying to make a team for this season. And then, they did great. They all came in and crushed it and got a real feel for how it is on the grid. And, it's just kind of fun to talk to them too. Like, my first pro day, I was wrecked. I was completely wrecked. And I'm like, it's a great experience for you guys to go through that. And now to be a second year, kind of feel like a veteran of it. And feel really good after the races. I'm like, man, I was totally them last year, and you kind of get a feel for it. So it's kind of cool on both sides, and to see some of my hard work pay off, but also be able to help some of the newer athletes. And of course, it's always good just to get back training with the team and push each other. So yeah, it's been fun.
Time. So, what did you learn from last year that you're applying into this year? You said the rookies and everything. What kind of tips did you give them?
Yeah, it's really the energy systems for myself. What I learned is like, you can CrossFit and you can weightlift all you want, but with CrossFit, it's just a longer pacing type duration for the most part, right? And of course they have different movements, but for the most part it's a pace. And then with weightlifting, it's a 1 rep max, under 10 seconds. So grid's right between the two, all out effort for 30 seconds, somewhere around there. So just training something similar to what you're going to see on race day. That's what I learned, and doing it often and with less rest and actually going at that same intensity. So, when I talked to him, I just said, look, there's a few fumbles today, and just like I made my first pro day and last year, and I said, that's great. You learn from it. You're going to have an opportunity, to show later and show your improvement, and that's the best thing that can happen. And, it's the best thing that happened to me, because if I didn't feel what it felt like to race, I would have came into the first match and, completely died, like race one. So it's better to learn it now than to learn it later.
Yeah, definitely. So are there any changes with the dynamics of Anthem going into season 2? Or are you picking up are you scouting anyone today, or did you pick any free agents up as well?
Yeah, so I think we just signed Bobby. He's a new guy. I don't know how to pronounce his last name yet, so we need a little more team bonding, but yeah, we picked up Bobby. He's a real versatile athlete, real good body weight guy too. So he'll be a great addition. And I think we're still looking. There's some good athletes today that I know the coaches will definitely talk about. But yeah, as far as scouting, I know they're looking for a few key positions. But as far as us athletes, we don't really get to say too much. So we just kind of train and do our job and let the coaches do their part. So
there we go. So successful first year. The last time we spoke about like 2 months ago, maybe 2.5. So in the duration from that was right before the CrossFit Open. How did it go, and what's your plan for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so it ended up going really well for me. I got 18th in the Southwest region, which qualified me as a spot, obviously at regionals in the top 20. So that was my big goal. That was my number one goal was, hey, I just want to make regionals this year, see what happens. And, everybody, when the workouts were coming out, they're all light, longer duration. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like the murder open, right? I'm like, I'm getting killed on all these workouts. And clawed my way back enough after the first workout to get an 18th place. And every single week I moved up after the first week, so kept climbing. And so it was a really good result for me. I was very happy with it. Wouldn't change anything. Great experience to go through it. And, at regionals, I'm just going to try to go be consistent. It's hard to set a huge goal because my big goal was regionals this year, but I just want to be as consistent as I can. I don't want to have any last place, first place, last place, that type of thing. So really just focus on one event at a time and just try to give my best on that event and then move on,
And Jared, also, I would just like to point out, how long have you been training for CrossFit specifically to make that adjustment? How long has it been again?
Yeah, so I started training full-time for CrossFit in September. So
That's pretty good!
Yeah, so when the Open started, it was like 6 months. Now it's been 7 months. And that was part of the change with Grid and kind of with CrossFit, how it tied in was right after Grid League last year, at the end of August was our last match, and I just told Garrett, our Grid League coach or Anthem coach, I said, I want to be a utility strength guy next year. So not just strength, but I also want to go utility. And he's like, all right, I trust you. We'll see where you're at, and we'll kind of assess from there. And I was like, no, I'm going to show him. I'm going to show him I can put in the work, and I'm going to do it. And, made regionals and, lost about 20 pounds body weight. So, everything's going on the right track. But, yeah, it's been about six months full-time that I've been kind of training it.
That's congrats, man. I mean, and it's not like getting to regionals every year is getting easier. This was a lot of work. You saw a lot of key names didn't even make it to regionals, so congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you. I do a lot of research. I'm an analytical guy, and it was like the last 2 years, the guy who took 20th in our region in 2014 and 2015 averaged 60th place on each workout. So, he could have a 100th place finish, but his next workout he would average 20th. This year, the 20th place guy averaged 34th. So pretty much cut your point total in half, So that's just, I think it shows the depth and kind of the versatility of the athletes now where, they're not going to bomb a handstand push-up workout. They're not going to bomb a max lift. They're not going to bomb muscle-ups or certain movement. Like, people just don't have as many weaknesses now. So, I mean, it was just crazy, I thought, to see how that was literally cut in half in the last 2 years of what you saw. And that trend, just the points literally were cut in half. So.
And which regional are you in?
I'm in the Southwest.
Okay. And so looking towards that, who are some of the outliers, the ones towards the top of the leaderboard you're like, you know what, I'm going to try to pace like that person? I'm not saying you have to call them out or anything, but who do you look to that you're like, hey, maybe they're a similar build or same capacity-wise that I'm going to try to emulate?
Yeah, that's a pretty difficult one, only because I feel like every month or even every couple weeks, it sounds strange, but I feel like a different athlete because, I'm so new to getting back into conditioning again. And of course I have the wrestling background. So it's just getting the conditioning again, a lot of it that I keep on, I'll set a pace for workout and I'll get done and I'm like, that was too easy. Or I think I'm way too good and that was way too hard, right? So I think a lot of it's just based off how I feel. But we do have a lot of experienced people in the region, like Zach Forrest, he's one of them. Adrian Conway, he's a guy who's similar to my size, a very strong athlete, but also very, very fit. So I think it'll be hard to pace off anybody, only because different strengths and weaknesses, and I don't know, I guess it'll depend on the workouts. I mean, I might have to latch onto somebody at like a long, crazy 26-minute AMRAP like last year, that chipper, so we'll see.
And that's a good point. Adrian, he came back from injury in 2014, came back 15, did really well. That's going to be interesting in your region. Now, thinking about this, and I'm just saying, speculating, do you think it's going to be more of skill, heavy, or Metcons you're going to see at regionals? What are you thinking?
I think all three. I know that sounds crazy, but I think the open was a little bit longer, a little bit lighter, for the most part, right? The first two were 20-minute workouts for a lot of people. Third one was 7 minutes, but it was light. Fourth one was 13 minutes, and fifth one was who knows how long, right? For the best, it wasn't that long, but you didn't really have any real heavy or super high skill movements in there. So I think you'll see handstand walks. I think you're going to see deficit handstand push-ups, some type of max lift. I think you're going to see different muscle-ups or a huge set of muscle-ups. And I also think you're going to see a heavy Metcon, but then you're probably going to see a long chipper too. So I think they're going to go across like the entire spectrum from 10 seconds of a max lift to maybe like a 2 minute and 30 or 2 minutes and 30 second workout of like a burner, like their finale last year with the muscle ups and the speed clean ladder. And I think they're gonna have something crazy. So I think you'll have everything kind of between that. I think it'll be really challenging on every aspect: skill, strength, Metcon, endurance, and also that three minute duration.
If you want to say the maturation process from grid to CrossFit or vice versa, I really think crowd participation, how crazy people get, it's the speed ladders and those type of races at the end. I don't care if they're like, oh, I don't like grid. Everyone loves those things. And you've seen it for the last 2 years. They keep bringing it back in different iterations. I expect to see it as well.
Yeah, I think they'll maybe vary it. Like 2 years ago, I think they had legless rope climbs. Last year, they had regular rope climbs. So this year, I think we'll probably see legless. It's just my guess. And the same thing goes with the clean. There was a speed clean ladder last year. I expect something similar. They might change the number of muscle-ups or make them bar or change what that first movement is. But I think maybe it'll be like a speed snatch ladder or thruster ladder. I agree, though, because it's such an exciting race sprint to the finish, but you got to do something of high skill first to earn the right to fight for the your spot at fifth or whatever you're trying to play. So I think it's genius. I think it's fun, exciting, and you really get to test a couple elements in the same exact workout. So
I'm hoping for I've got one serious one that I think is going to happen. I think the assault bike is coming for regionals.
Yes, that is something I just told Luke before I walked in here, probably 20 minutes ago. I said, when we get back to the house after we eat and stuff, I need to hit an assault bike workout because I don't have one at home. And I said, I think they're coming. Mm-hmm. So I would agree with you 100%. If I had to bet, I would bet yes.
Yeah. And this one, I don't think it's serious, but I'm waiting for this sneaking. Well, okay, I'm going to back up. When I had my box, for years, I had a pegboard, and everyone's like, you're an idiot. They never put pegboards. I'm like, they're going to do it. And people are like, blah, blah, blah. Now look what happened. My next one, I think they're going to put sod presses. Just randomly. A heavy sod press. Because I think sometimes the depth and the range of motion, a lot of people don't have it. That's a kind of gimmicky thing, but I think we're going to see in the next. All right, if it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen next year. What are some of your picks that you're going to like a dark horse that's going to happen?
Ooh, boy, I'm with you on the pegboard. I think that could happen because I think they want to up the ante. So last year was the finale in the games. Mm-hmm. Now, in order maybe to even get to the games, you got to do it at regional. So I could see them doing that too. Oh boy, as far as I don't know about any new movements, anything like that. I definitely think assault bike. And I think last year they didn't have much running. Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling there's going to be something. They're going to figure out a way to get a lot more running in. Mm-hmm. So I just have kind of those two things in mind. Something really nasty on the assault bike is going to happen, and something, whether it's like a sprint with running or something different. I don't know how they're going to work it, but that would be my guess. Yeah.
That's true. And what I was trying to think about, they've done, so pistols, we've seen them and everything like that. We've never done a one-legged deadlift, correct? I don't think it's been there.
I don't think so.
Have they ever programmed it on main site?
I am not sure.
Check that. Okay, just randomly. So we've got all that going on. Regionals coming. You're already going full force with that. What is the limit that you're going to get to this year? What do you have planned for yourself now?
Yeah, I haven't set that limit. I think it's impossible to tell because, everybody I would talk to or tell my goals of making regionals are like, oh, how long you been training? And I'm like, oh, 2 months. And they're like, oh, man, you got to be realistic. It's going to take you 2 to 3 years to develop. And, I posted this on Twitter, but it's true. It's like you got to let your belief in yourself be stronger than the voices of mediocrity. I don't want it. I never believed that for a second. The second I said it in September, I believed it wholeheartedly, and I trained that way. So for me, it's, of course, most people will say make it to the games, but for me, that doesn't motivate me right now because I don't believe I'm quite at that level right now. I have 6 weeks, of course, but I need to just focus on what I can control and what I can do, and that's getting mentally prepared for every workout, mentally preparing in training that if one workout doesn't go bad in the morning, when I come back in the afternoon, I got to have that workout's over. I need to come back and hit it hard. And I think that's kind of the best prep I can have because things are going to go wrong. Things will go great. So don't get too high on those. Don't get too low on those. And just work on that consistency. So, I haven't set a clear-cut goal right now other than really trying to work on my mental game and trying to be as prepared as I can mentally for it.
Excellent. And one last point before we let you out of here. You brought up a really good point that sometimes people are like, oh, it's 2 or 3 years out. And a trend that we saw online, or maybe you could speak about it, having that strength background on the Olympic lifts, how much did that put you ahead of that curve? A lot of times people are learning, yes, the handstand, push-ups, the muscle-ups, but when you have that raw strength and ability that you had going in, how much does that speak going into the open and everything like that?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Just because the snatch, clean, and jerk, and specifically for weightlifting, once you're pretty good at snatch, clean, and jerk, you've really mastered how to move your body. Because every sport, it's kind of the nerd in me, but I study a lot of sports and human movement. It's what I have my degree in, of course. So, but every sport is really just how well individuals transfer force from their big toe to their middle finger. Right? From your feet to your hands, how well do you transfer that force? How fast? And can you control it? Right? Can you stop it? What makes the difference between a great basketball player and a not like Steph Curry and just a average Joe? It's just he controls the force on every shot based on how far his brain sees he's away from the rim. So with that being said, when you do weightlifting, the transfer of force, when you extend and then to the point in which you need to pull under, you understand your body and where it is in space. It's like gymnastics with a barbell in your hand. So you understand that so well that if you're a great weightlifter, you can pick up a lot of other movements very easy. So I think that's a big plus. Number one is you pick up other movements very easy. So, the first time I tried a muscle up, I got 2 or 3. Just first time I ever touched rings, just because I could snatch over 300 pounds. So I was like, oh yeah, I just watched them. Oh yeah, you put your hips up. Oh yeah, then you just turn over. Okay, it's like weightlifting. It's just okay. This one's hips, then arms. Oh, that sounds like the snatch. So pick it up very easy. And number 2 is every workout that has a barbell in it. That's all I had trained for 6 years. So if I saw 135 snatch or squat snatch or this clean, I'm like, I already know how to move very efficiently, and because it's such a light percentage of my max, I'm able to relax. Where if it's 50% of somebody else's max, their heart rate's going to jack up after 10 reps. Where at 10 reps, if it's 20% of my max, then it's great. So I think that, I did strongman for 3 years before weightlifting. I think that helped just for brute strength. And, I think maybe the most carryover was the wrestling, just having that wrestling background, just mentally knowing how to go through that grind and practices and competitions and movement as well. Moving around somebody else's body, they're giving you feedback, when to push, don't fight against it. So, yeah, but I think it's huge in those 2 elements especially. Yeah.
That's excellent, man. That we're going to have to use a lot of clips. That was awesome. That was awesome, man. Thank you. So where can the good people find you at?
Yeah, on Instagram, it's at Jared Enderton. My website's jaredenderton.com. But yeah, I post most of my stuff on Instagram, so you can follow me there. I also have a Facebook page, an athlete page on there, Twitter, but it's all the same, just at Jared Enderton. You can check those out. And then, of course, my website. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much, sir. And we look forward to seeing all the wonderful things that you plan on doing the rest of 2016. Again, congratulations with making it to regionals as well.
Yeah, thank you. It's good talking to you again.